Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's OpenONU Go call. Thanks for joining. As usual, the call is public and recorded and will be shared live on YouTube. So please be mindful of the comments you make and the information you share with the group. First of all, there's a small patch that I'd like people to review, especially, I think, Grish, if you can. It's from Holger. There's a 2.8 version and a master version of it. Thanks for the +1 Odger. So as soon as you take a look, Girish, I think we can merge this one and merge the 2.8 version as well and reuse my Helm charts patch for releasing this.
Okay.
Anything you need to tell the group about this one, Michael?
Yeah, I think that it's already some days ago, a month ago or so, that Girish delivered some patch that already included some corrections for possible deadlock situations between the VLAN FSM processing and tech profile or ANI config processing. And that one already included some corrections, but it proved to be not successful for all possible situations. So this patch now tries to cover this interworking completely. Yeah, and well, we hope so. The effect itself can only be observed sporadically, and we have to observe in the next regression tests if it really helps in all the situations now.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks. Okay, so next up, there is a JIRA that Michael, you opened today, and I wanted to discuss to make sure that we are on the same page on who should address this. So do you mind giving us some context on this one?
The problem, I saw this problem when testing my patch preparation for the patch that we just mentioned, but I'm pretty sure that the changes I've done in the patch are not related to this behavior. So what happens in this error situation is that in the end, the ONU adapter reads the same allocation ID for the TCONs that refer to two ONU devices, which are used on the same PON interface. And concretely, this is the allocation ID 1024, which is assigned to both ONUs. And this is in the end used as information in the OMSI set configuration for the TCON. And in the end, the BBSIM detects that the second configuration detects that the allocation ID is already used on another PON interface, and that's the reason why BBSIM does not accept this OMSI configuration. And from ONU adapter point of view, it is quite simple that this allocation ID is read from the tech profile instance. From different devices. And according to the traces in the ONU adapter, I can see that already when reading from these tech profile instances, the same allocation ID is found in both these instances. And that's a situation, I'm not sure where this initialization in these tech profile instances is really done. So my guess was the OLT adapter, but I'm not sure. It maybe still have something to do with the changes that Girish introduced for the handling of the tech profile instances. That there might be still something in there, but because of the very sporadic appearance of this effect, I don't guess it has something to do with at least the changes in the ONU adapter, but perhaps somewhere else in the system.
Michael, thanks for the explanation. I think it most likely is an issue in the OpenOLT adapter plus the tech profile and resource manager module. Have you? I recently, no, I introduced some change yesterday. Are you seeing this from yesterday, or this issue has been lingering around for some time now?
No, I saw this this behavior just once and just today. So with a master image of the OLT adapter.
Only today. Okay.
Only today. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was some cyclic dependency between tech profile and pond resource manager. So I rearranged the code a bit. I'm thinking if I introduced a bug. Do you happen to have the job or the log somewhere? I can check.
Yeah, I sent the logs to Andrea and Andrea made it.
Girish, yeah, the logs are below here. They were a little bit big to be included in the Jira ticket. So what I did, I just uploaded them to Drive and then linked it from there. So you can get the logs from this from there. And I think if you have any questions or comments, you can ask Michael about them.
Yeah, because the allocation has been pretty robust. I mean, there were some issues initially. I mean, they were fixed and it had been pretty robust even in scale. We never saw duplicate allocations. So I suspect it is something that I introduced yesterday. So let me check.
Okay, so you will take an action item on this, Girish?
Yeah, you can assign it to me. Hello?
I was speaking on mute. Yeah, sure, we'll do. It's assigned to 2.9 as well. Just make sure it's actually only on master, please.
Okay.
Okay. Done. I have assigned it to you, and that's okay. Perfect. Okay, so next one is a Jira, which I'm sorry, but I did not understand what was the outcome of the discussion. I see like 10 comments, and I did not get what we need to do with this Jira. What was the outcome of the discussion? And like, can you guys clarify? Because there's a lot of information in the comments, but there's no clear action on this one. So I'm not sure.
To me, I mean, there is no conclusion yet. I mean, something needs to be done, but it's not clear what. But there are some OMCI counters that are being fetched for an ONU from the OLT adapter.
Okay.
But I don't think that suffices. I mean, there are only RX OMCI counters. I mean, there should be a counterpart TX. There could be more counters. I'm not sure what that is. I haven't looked at latest Mikhail's comment.
But there was a. Go ahead.
If you open the Excel spreadsheet from the TCOM discussion, there's an entry in the end. Right down below, referring to OMSI counters that have to be delivered in the context of PM data. And my comments refer to this requirement.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure there's nothing like that at the moment in the Volta system. And if you want to provide that, then yeah, at least something has to be done.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
The issue is, the OMCI, there is no OMCI ME that delivers these counters. I'm familiar with the BAL platform, and I'm pretty sure they don't deliver these counters. So
yeah, that's why my proposal was not to implement that as PM. So let's say, what is it called? Interval counters or something like that in these 15 minutes intervals, but to have a possibility to fetch the current counters, like we do for ANI-G test results or other stuff.
yeah, but where do you fetch the current counters from?
Yeah, we need to introduce, of course, changes in the, for instance, also in the ONU adapter to really count these counters that we want to provide. At the moment, we don't have that.
Right. So the current counter, so they would just reset if the adapter were to restart for some reason.
Yes, that was another discussion of of this context here, whether to keep the counters in the Kiwi store or not. Yeah, I said I don't think it is necessary to have them in Kiwi store and to restore them after reconciliation or restart.
Mm-hmm.
Just to have a possibility to display the current running counters. And in my point of view, from ONU adapter and from OLT adapter, so that you can make sure that they are in a kind of balance.
Mm-hmm.
But so per my understanding, as per yesterday's discussion with the operators, there's really no need at this point in time for this. Am I mistaken? Or do you guys feel that these are like important ones that we should have as soon as possible?
Yeah. Let's state it that way. We also have we had this discussion for these SERCOM AT&T scenario problem, and you rely on the according adapter traces to give some estimation on what's going on or not. I'm not sure if having the current OMSI counters would have really helped in this situation, but at least it is a possible point of investigation to verify if the counters sent from the ONU adapter are in balance or are equal, more or less equal to what the OLT adapter received and sent to the OLT and ONU. Not sure if this helps in all situations, but at least it also gives a certain feeling about what is happening on the OMSI channel. So we can use that for inspecting what is going on in the system. If it is really needed or not, well, this is operators should decide. I only mentioned that in this JIRA discussion because it was already mentioned here in the TCOM document.
Okay.
I remember that Paul said that this was not important for them. Yeah, I mean, if it's not important, less work for us.
I would say let's see if they come up as needed again in other scenarios, and if they do, we can commit to it and implement it. I'll leave the JIRA open and that's it. Okay, I think we have enough information on this. Let me just put a comment here saying something like see discussion. See discussion on OpenONU Go call of the 28, 21. Okay, perfect. So next up, the 2.8 roadmap. 2.9 roadmap. Sorry, I discussed it yesterday with the operators, and they seem to be fine with the existing roadmap. The one thing that was brought up by Amit that I didn't totally understand, but I think it's somewhat related to the testing that they have been doing for the ONU image update, is that he mentioned that he would like whether when the OMC IFSM happens and some hardening happens over there, to have a better grasp in the ordering of the OMCI packets. So I'm not exactly 100% sure of what that means. I thought we were already sending them in order, but do you guys have any idea?
Well, one of the findings that Amit had during his investigation of the upgrade OMSI transfer is that the ordering of the OMSI package was kind of reversed. I think seen on the ONU, so for the, let's say, downstream direction from ONU adapter to ONU. And in my point of view, the problem was in somewhere in the Kafka transfer. So in my point of view, it was not a problem in the ONU adapter, but something that was possibly rearranged during the Kafka transfer. And our hope, in my point of view, our hope is that with the exchange or the change towards gRPC, this situation won't appear anymore. But of course, yeah, at least it must be verified again and tested.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. I had the same assumption that this was somewhat could be possibly seen or checked or disappear after the gRPC swap. Ken keeps mentioning that whatever the behavior of Kafka will be the behavior of gRPC, but I guess a few of these things might need further analysis after we do that those set of changes, which I'm totally fine with this. Let's just keep it in mind in the roadmap. So let's keep it there and just let's work on it whenever we have the gRPC swap. We do that, and then we check whether it is actually needed to be fixed or it was fixed in the process of the changes. Okay. So the other thing that we've set as very low priority is the XGS-PON Gemport encryption setting. That, yes, should be done for completeness of the feature, but nobody really actually now cares about XGS-PON. So I think that is a very, very low priority. Any comments?
Is the approach documented somewhere?
Which approach?
I'm not sure. I think Burak or someone documented what are the changes needed in the adapter if this were to be taken up.
Anyways. The XGS-PON encryption?
I think so. Yeah, let's not worry about it.
Yeah,
I was just
exactly.
looking. Yeah.
There's a Jira for it, I think. I need to look at this, but whatever. Okay, good. Okay, next up, one quick question. Is there any update on the ST01 findings? Anything that you guys managed to scavenge from the logs? I don't have any from Radisys, so either you guys had something by looking at the logs, or I think there is nothing on this point.
Yeah, I think the last conclusion or the last assumption on the behavior is that the SERCOM ONU itself by some reason does not accept the OMSI frames anymore. So basically, we saw that in their tests, they really have to reset the ONU to get that working again, and resetting some components in Volta does not help. So we also saw some strange log entries in the Circom syslog there. So I think the things point on the ONU itself, but it's not finally clarified. And one of the ideas was still to also test the reset of the used OLT itself in the situation and see if that already helps or not. But I haven't, and we haven't received some new information on this in the last days. So that's only our current assumption for this.
Okay, I can ping Radisys to check if they have any update on if they tried resetting the OLT or things like that.
Normally the OLT is reset at the start of every test, right, Andrea?
Yeah. But I'm not sure it is. But what Michael was suggesting is possibly if resetting the OLT at the point where the ONU gets stuck helps. So maybe it's like, it's just enough to reset the OMCI channel and not reboot the ONU. It's like trying. It's a shot.
Yeah, I mean, resetting the OLT of course helps, because the ONU gets rediscovered again, the ONU is MIB reset. I mean,
But the thing that I understood from Radis is that they have to hard reboot the ONU after this to let it come up.
Well, I mean, hard reboot is like, resetting the MIB. I mean, if you restart the OLT, it's also going to reset the MIB.
Not exactly, Girish. I've seen in the ONU adapter trace that MIB reset was also done in the error situation. So at least from the ONU adapter itself. So according OMSI datagrams were sent towards the ONU, but the ONU simply did not accept any OMSI datagram anymore. And it might be the frames are not transmitted transferred in the OLT anymore, because they also reset, I think they also reset the OLT adapter itself, which did not help. Or the ONU itself does not, for some reason, accept the messages anymore. And resetting the OLT, of course, makes a new a MIB reset and new initialization, but normally they should receive that already in the other procedures according to the ONU adapter trace. So what might, of course, be that the disruption of the optical signal also has some other influence on the ONU. Yeah. Something like is done on the hard reboot. Yeah, so it still stays a little bit unclear, even though the OLT reset should correct the issue. Yeah, and then on the other way, we also ask if they can ask the CERCOM experts for the strange syslog entries of the ONU. Perhaps they also give some indication.
Yeah, unfortunately, the CERCOM is not really replying in this respect. So I might have to put in some leverage behind Radis's ask for support because they asked Radis's plenty of time about this and they couldn't get any reply. So I guess I'll have to put in some weight either from myself or ask the folks, for example, at Deutsche Telekom to check with their contacts at CERCOM if they can take a look at this one.
Isn't CERCOM, I don't know which model is, but isn't a model of CERCOM?
No, it's not the one we certify, Grish.
Okay.
It's another model. It says T01. I could ping the contact we have for certification, even though it's a different model. I can try.
Okay, I think it's the glass phaser modem that we certify, not the ST01.
Yes, exactly. But the glass fiber modem is not publicly available, and so this is the newer version of their ONU, apparently. Whatever. Go ahead, Chip.
Yeah, we've seen some issues with one alpha and a CIRCOM. I'm not sure which one that's been used heavily with the laser getting stuck on. So does the BAL have a capability to check for what the power level is during idle times on the pond? Is anyone familiar with that? Because that can cause some very strange behaviors, and sometimes resets will fix it, but it comes back sometimes quickly. At least it's one CIRCOM that we have, but I think it's because the board was going bad or maybe a defect.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, there is no such provision.
Oh, okay.
Or at least I'm not aware. I haven't really explored that.
Okay, so let me try and push Zercom on this one, and also ask Radicis. I can do that. Okay. On the extended frame counter, I think we left with two action items. One was for Adtran to test with Adtran ONUs, and the other one is to create a JIRA with a low priority that changes the protos, but only after the Kafka to gRPC swap. So, Michael, do you know if anybody tested this?
No, nobody tested this. I think it should be possible by now because the according Adtran OLT adapter is delivered, or at least we have access to a version that we could use for the test. Yeah, but due to shortage of time, I could not do it. I hope next week Holger will return, and hopefully then he can deal with such a test.
Sounds good. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, on the multi-UNI support, there are two patches up from Mahir to fix the issue of the subscriber. I gave them a pass on our jobs where we test the way we run nightly, our periodic jobs, and they seem to be okay. I've asked Hardik to review and test with the physical ONF Flex setup, but today we had some infrastructure issues at ONF, and so it was impossible for him to test. We will try and test this on hardware as soon as possible. It has actually passed a hardware test, meaning that it doesn't impede the functionality, which is good. But we would like to actually test the multi-UNI announcement to make sure that the issue is actually fixed, the known issue is actually fixed. So yeah, I will do that. We'll give everybody an update as soon as we have anything. Any question or comments on this one? Okay, no. Then testing. Torsten, I know you have pushed a couple of tests. Do you mind giving us some thoughts on those?
Yes, I can do. In the last few days, I pushed some patches. One was bigger for so-called flow tests in the etcd, where we check the VLAN rules according the VLANs expected. Currently, I'm working on further software upgrade tests. There are 2 JIRAs. One is to test all combination of activation and commit flag. And the other one is to check to download an image from a wrong URL. I'm currently working on this, and hopefully I will push it tomorrow.
Sorry, I didn't get download the image from where?
From a wrong, okay, this was German. URL.
Ah, okay, I see.
So this is testing a failure scenario and to check if we get according system indications that something went wrong and what the real state of the upgrade is. And yeah, Thorsten already found out that the indications given there from the ONU adapter are not really sufficient, probably. We are still on checking that. So he also created a JIRA for the ONU adapter in this respect. So that's something we have to follow up in the ONU adapter as well.
Okay, so that's something that we would have to put in terms of code to fix this issue. Okay, so that was all I had for today. Anything that anybody wants to bring up? Okay, one thing that I would like to do is if you guys are starting to work on any of the 2.9 elements and you don't find an adequate JIRA, please do open it. There's always things that I keep forgetting to open JIRAs for, and I cannot really have JIRAs open for everything. So if you work on something and you saw the fact that there is no JIRA for that something that you're working on, please just go ahead, open it, and tag it with the proper when you go. And yeah, that's kind of it. On the roadmap, I tried.
I want.
Go ahead, Michael.
Sorry. What I have wanted to add one remark, because Thorsten is carefully checking the daily regression test results very carefully. And lately there was again another error appearance in connection with the soft reboot, where the expected state is not or was not reached. And yeah, I still have to verify that in detail if it is related to one of the corrections we have lately done, or perhaps also that we have delivered with the patch that we discussed in the beginning. So at least it must still be investigated something there, and we still keep an eye on the results there to get that test green.
On that note, what obviously needs to be considered is that today I will actually release a Helm chart patch that includes some fixes that were done in the past few days. So it might be that like yesterday's 2.8 job does not include all the latest and greatest 2.8 fixes because of this reason, just due to the fact that the 2.8, the way it works is that on master, we always deploy the master image, so it always includes the latest and greatest elements. While on 2.8, we do not deploy we do not take the image from the latest branch, the latest commit on 2.8, but what we actually do is we actually deploy the Helm chart specified version. So what we ensure is that the release is working as expected. So yeah, that's why sometimes some corrections might not be immediately released to 2.8 jobs. If you guys were wondering why, we need a Helm chart patch to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's the
I'm a
way
little bit
we.
unsure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little bit unsure if this is the correct approach in this respect for
it is.
2.8. But
it is because the way Volta is released is a combination of Helm charts. So whenever we say 2.8, we mean the charts to deploy 2.8 with a specific version, because otherwise you're always going against a moving target. So having the version fixed in the Helm chart and deploying a specific version of the Helm chart with a specific version of the image is the way you're actually intend. You actually, it's the only way you can ensure that your target, that the target you're deploying is the same target for everybody, and it is the released elements. The fact that you need to upload a patch to the Helm charts precisely shows that you're actually changing the release bits.
yeah, but the question is how often you really do an update of the Helm chart.
In theory,
if you
every
don't
time.
do it, what? Yeah, what means every time?
It means every time you push a patch for 2.8.
Okay, so that was not the case in the last days. So it should be different, yes.
Before 2.8, we were effectively not doing it. We might have do it like a couple of times during a 2.x release.
Andrea, I mean, we have released for the 2.8 branch in between in the last days, I think 3 or 4 versions, and they haven't been updated in the Helm charts.
Yes.
And if you do that as a chunk, then the problem is that if something fails afterwards, it's quite hard to find out what really failed.
Very good point. So from now on, we should update the charts every time you deliver a patch.
Okay, if this is how you want to proceed, then in the end you also test the latest version on release 2.8, and then it's
you
fine
do
for me.
You do, but otherwise it makes no sense to have a release, because otherwise, what if you're not putting out and testing exactly the code that you have released? Because on the 2.8 branch we are releasing that tag, so we need to test it for the 2.8 because we're saying that is 2.8. So we need to do it. It's okay, no problem. I can do it.
Yeah.
I'll push a patch today with as soon as Girish takes a look at this one. As soon as he gives it a +1, I'll merge it. It will get published by Docker on Docker Hub, and then I will push a patch for the charts. So that should be in by tonight, and that will include 1.3.5, 1.3.6, and 1.3.7 as well, which is the point you made. So from now on, we should have actually changed 4 versions of those.
Fine.
Okay. Anything else needs to be discussed? Okay, then if not, thanks everybody. We'll get 15 minutes back of our day, and I'll talk to you again next week. Cheers. Bye-bye.